In this video, I go over 5 great pieces of gear under $2,500 for DJs and producers. Find out which ones those are coming up. Thank you for watching PDot TV, where you'll find tips, tricks, and tutorials for DJs and music performers. Now let's get into the video.
Now first up, we have the Rane MP 2015 rotary control DJ mixer. Now this is like taking a trip back in time to the early days of DJing before we had all the fancy high-tech digital mixers that we have today. This thing not only just screams vintage, but it sounds vintage as well. The way this thing sounds, it's so warm. It's definitely something different than you would get from like a Pioneer DJM900 Nexus. It feels a little bit more rounded out. It's hard to describe it, but the bottom end feels a little different. The highs feel a little different, and I would say the number one thing, besides the fact that this doesn't have any faders, the number one difference between this is the isolator EQ that you get on the top. So not only do you get EQs per channel, but you get an overall master EQ as well that can be used a lot like a secondary filter. So you get filters per channel, but you also get this nice, really dialed in isolator EQ, where you can even change the crossover points where the EQs hit on the master channel as well, which if you're mixing like house, or you're mixing dance music, or actually if you're just mixing any type of music, you can get some pretty different and pretty creative and pretty fun ways of blending songs and mixing. If you're used to just DJing back and forth between a regular mixer and 2 decks, throwing this in the mix instead of that mixer definitely changes it and just gives you a whole different feel of DJing. And I'll say it's way more hands-on. I just found myself like wanting to turn the knobs more often than I would on a regular DJ mixer and just playing around more, and it's just more fun. It's not something that you're gonna do every night, but if you got the cash to spend, this is definitely a great investment as far as sound quality and as far as just a different piece that'll just switch up how you do your DJing. And the complete opposite of that in a way is the Pioneer CDJ2000 Nexus 2. This is their current top of the line media player. This thing is right under $2,200. Get 8 cue points, touchscreen, every feature you pretty much would ever want on a CDJ from Pioneer is in this actual media player. This is definitely the industry standard for a reason. Really easy to use, layout makes sense. It's been the same standard layout for years now, so if you've ever used a CDJ, you can pretty much get around this thing. I mean, there is some adjusting due to the fact that there's a touchscreen and some of the functions are on the touchscreen instead of like being separate. But the touchscreen also allows for some really cool features that weren't available previously, like the ability to have a QWERTY keyboard to search, or controls like Beat Jumper, all available on that touchscreen. So if you're looking to get what is currently the industry standard, this is the media player for you. And in my opinion, what is a better buy as an at-home setup if you're using the CDJ2000 Nexus 2s in the clubs all the time is the XCJ1000 Mark IIs. This basically is the little brother of the 2000 Nexus 2. You get that same kind of touchscreen as well as the controls to the right of the touchscreen. You don't get the cue points that you would on the 2000 Nexus 2s, but you do get cue points on the touchscreen instead of the physical buttons on the 2000 Nexus 2. And you don't have some other features that are missing as far as like, you know, the vinyl speed adjust and the braking and stuff. You don't get as much control in those departments as well. But overall, if you're just looking for an at-home setup to get your hands, you know, well accustomed to the 2000 Nexus 2 kind of setup and that workflow of plugging the USB stick in and searching and all of that stuff and loading your tracks and tagging all of your tracks, getting ready to be on that club standard setup at home, for about the same price as one CDJ2000 Nexus 2, you can get a pair of these things and have pretty much a complete home setup. All you need is a mixer and you're good to go. And this thing is built with pretty much the same build quality as the 2000 Nexus 2, which is really nice. Pioneer DJ does a pretty good job of having that same overall build quality from top to bottom. Now, it's not as solid, but this thing can take a pretty good beating in my opinion as well. So if you're looking for an at-home setup and you don't have that kind of dough to dish out for a 2000 Nexus 2 setup, definitely check out these. But in my opinion, what I think might take the reins from Pioneer, these are the Denon DJ SC5000 Primes. Now this media player literally has all the features that I would want in a media player. Not only do you get a touchscreen, but it's multi-touch as well, so it really feels like any smartphone on the market today. The search abilities are great, the overall screen is bigger. Just the features on this thing really, in my opinion, outshine the Pioneer CDJs. But because Pioneer has been in the game and been in those booths for so long, so many people have become accustomed to Rekordbox and the way that the CDJs work. So it may take some time for Denon to ever get some footing as far as being the standard in a lot of booths, but this player is a monster. It literally should be, in my opinion, the standard CD player, or I should say media player, because it has all the features that you would be looking for, and on top of that, it's built great. So if you don't necessarily need to have what would be standard in all the DJ booths, but you want something that's super, feature packed, as well as a little bit cheaper as well, definitely check out these media players from Denon. If I was going to get a new set of media players, these would be the one I'd grab. And to match those SC5000s, this is the XCJ1000 Prime. This is the DJ mixer in the Prime series, 4 channels. You get color effects, all the beat effects as well. And what's pretty cool about this is that the channel filters are actually separate from the color effects as well. So you can do an effect like, a roll or something like that on the color effects and still affect the channel using the filters as well, on top of having the beat effects. So it's like having a third layer of effects. And this thing is built great. I love the layout of this. It's still pretty much the same kind of Pioneer-esque club standard layout, but it does have that Denon DNA in it. So if you're used to the Pioneer setup, it's not going to be that hard to find your way around this thing. There are some differences, but some great differences, as well as being built really well. One feature that this mixer has that the Pioneer DJM900 Nexus 2 doesn't have is this has an actual network hub in the back, sort of like the older DJM2000 had, where you could plug in all the CDJs into the mixer itself instead of having to carry a hub. This mixer has that feature as well, so that's great. It's one less thing you have to carry if you're going to use the Denon Prime setup. Instead of having to carry, an extra hub, you can just plug all of the actual media players into this mixer and be good to go. So if you're into the whole Denon DJ Prime series and you are kind of dedicated and you really think it's going to go in that direction and it's something that you really want to use, this mixer makes complete sense. It's feature packed. It has all the features that you need for a club standard mixer, and in my opinion, it's built really great, and it's also, like the media player, a little cheaper than its Pioneer counterpart as well. So you're saving a little bit of money, as well as getting all the features pretty much that the DJM900 Nexus 2 has, and you're getting more as well with that added network hub and just overall those filters. It's just great in my opinion, and I can't wait to see these pop up in more places.
So that's a look at 5 great pieces of gear under $2,500 for DJs and producers. If you're interested in purchasing any of those, links can be found down below in the description. And as always, if you found this video useful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click right here to subscribe to this channel. Or if you'd like to watch more content, go ahead and click on that video right there. And thank you for watching PDot TV, where you'll find tips, tricks, and tutorials for DJs and music performers. See you next time.